Hi. So I want to share a little bit of my side as regards doing spiritual work and maybe some of the harder things that I face with it. And specifically, I've been spending a lot of time working on others and doing spiritual work on others, let's look at your past lives, let's see what kind of entities you have and other things like that. So like a lot of people need that confirmation. A lot of people want to be understood and kind of like see why are certain things happening to them. And they might feel like an alien, they might feel suppressed, they might face tons of health issues and one thing after another and never seeing anything positive, and then starting questioning like, why me? Why is that happening to me? And I try to be my best self. And so from my side, a lot of times I don't think I'm doing much, but it's my perception of it. And I think like the biggest thing I do is like for some that are believing certain things, not necessarily everything, but maybe more on the spiritual side, like they want to know that they're like third parties, maybe. Maybe they might believe in, let's say, aliens, CT races, getting out of body, afterlife, and other things like that. So from my side, it's usually the confirmation. It's saying what's possibly suppressing people, what's getting in the way. Because, I'm doing spiritual work on others while I shifted working on my physical health, making sure like I get enough rest and I'm taking care of myself and, life as a human being here trying to survive, trying to make money and other things, and learning things and programming and data analytics and other little things. So like besides that, recently I started focusing like, okay, I think I'm covering up my physical health enough and life where I can take care of myself. Back to spiritual side, not just studying, but I can work on others and look at what's messing with them. I abandoned myself in that way or took a break from that. So I've been doing some sessions on myself as regards, like, let's say, some of the limits that I face. And talking about hardships in spiritual work, like, let's say, if you would consider yourself doing energy work or, helping out others, and if you're interested in it, some of the things that happen is that while we can clear like energy blockages, or let's say people are feeling exhausted, and there's tons of techniques of how to do it. Like some people are like Reiki, some are doing like tons, and there's never like by the book of how it should be done and what is right and what is wrong. More like I don't even know how to talk about a subject, so it's going to be all over the place. For those that watch my videos, they're going to be like, okay, whatever, you're kind of used to it. For those that are news, like, okay, hurry up, get to the point. But it doesn't matter. From my side, a lot of times, because I'm trying to see what usually is getting in the way of one person, like of one's life, I'm looking at those that will try to suppress people one way or the other. And we usually talk about good and bad being in duality, and we like point fingers at groups that are making our life harder. So I'm sort of the eyes for a lot of people that might not be able to see. They feel, they experience it, but they cannot see stuff. Well, of course, if you would work on it, you would definitely see it. It's just that I have a little bit more access because I've been practicing this one muscle, so to speak. So I would be like looking into why you get here. Forced incarnation, did you come here on your own free will? Who's messing with you and the third parties? And while looking, like a lot of times you're being looked at. Like if you look long enough into the abyss was going to look back at you, sort of say. So, just like when you see entities, the entities see you. When you look at reptilians, like consciousness shift and you get into their space, they're going to see you. And like it really depends on which level I'm going to work at. Because if I'm going with the intention, hello, like I can be in consciousness shifting, getting out of body, and then end up, let's say, on a gray spaceship, or like in some spirits like super soldier plays, secret space program and all the stuff. So when I explore there and I stated, hi, I'm simply gonna observe, I'm not gonna do anything. Is that okay with you? It's kind of like they're gonna allow you to observe. A lot of times they're okay with you walking around. They don't really have that Faraday cage to keep you away from stuff. They're okay with you seeing it. But when your business is like, hey, I know you're suppressing me, and I'm here for business to solve this kind of thing. Not all of them like that. So when I do it for clients, I get a target on my back as well. And sometimes it ends up with, let's say I'm just scanning and I can write tons of things down while I'm looking into person's life. And then, I'm picking up certain details. And the best giveaway for certain groups is when you're right, is that they're going to target you. Like, they don't like what you're doing. So you get random headaches. Like, let's say you pick out like, oh, well, this person has this. One of the usual things is, let's say you're trying your best to communicate to people, to show who you really are, show your true colors, but people will perceive you as a complete opposite. If you're trying to be kind, if you try to show that you care, if you are maybe being honest now, but in the best intentions, and others are going to call you, you're not narcissist, you're a bit too much, like too masculine, too feminine, too something. Usually, like, there's this energetic cloak, like someone puts this energy thing around you, so to speak, that changes others' perception of you. So they're not going to be able to see the real you. They will see what's being put onto you and shown to others. So like it's a whole different perception. So like finding something like that, like usually like it's easy to spot and all, but there are groups that don't like that kind of thing, and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to look at this. And like I'm just like spotting. And for me, I'm a very visual person, but to translate it and to try to express it and explain to people in human language what I see, English being my second language, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of like limiting, and visuals are great. How do I tell it to you and explain it in a way that would make sense? That's the hardest part. And like for me, like, okay, like I get the message and I get the headaches. It's not all the time, it's like rarely, but it does happen. And like in a way, I started to like it because it's a confirmation for me, like, oh, they just gave themselves away. Like if you're usually right, if you're on spot, they're like, oh, you should not do that. And like they're trying to punish you, but in a way like, oh, well, duh, like I know what you're doing and why. So for me, like let's say finding flow, getting a little headache, and then like, okay, well, where's it coming from? And the best way I could explain it is like if you were a dog and certain scent stood out and you'd be able to just follow it and sort of like that, I follow like where's it coming from, where's the source of this, let's say, headache or like other thing, and then I would find the hierarchy and the boss and everything else. So little things like that. And talking about such things, like you do spiritual work for others and then you get attacked because of it. It does not happen all the time. It happens to people who are like really targeted heavily. And it's the weirdest stories, because I don't even know how to talk about it. So I'm going to tell it to myself again, like I'm going to be all over the place. And if it's going to be a long video, I'm sorry for it. But yeah, I'm just going to try to express myself the best I can. So the stories I hear from people, sometimes, like it's simple. It's, one of those, like almost everyone has this, like when I hear it. But there are stories are like, holy cow, like how is this person still alive? Because they get every possible bad thing happen to them. Tons of diseases, tons of things that doctors can't explain. They go to this doctor and that doctor and that doctor, and it shows up, it's there for a week, it disappears, and like just a lot of things happen to a person, and it seems like they should be dead. Like with everything they experience, like every possible bad luck and bad thing is right there. And we look into it, like why? Because like the people who've been through it might have not been believers. And they don't even have to believe in me or what I'm saying. But everything they have experienced as a person who's been into, let's say, science and medical stuff and being doctors and being nurses and having like really high qualities in education. And with all the research they've done, they could not find the answers to why is this happening to them. And then someone's like, oh, well, Tony Robbins, it's not why you, it's why is it happening for you? It's like, well, doesn't matter, I'm still sick as fuck. So all these things, like, for me, it's like, oh my God, how can I help this person? Because most of the things I do is just like giving you a weird ass story of your past lives, of why you're here, what happened before you came here, if it's of interest. And then whatever I see is like really depends, like how I tune into people, And then, is it entities? Is it closed chakras? Is it the energy blockages and who's targeting you and why? And like, what I perceive is super hard to explain because like, the whole concept of time and space and where and who and why, when there's tons of groups, let's say Abraxas, reptilians, Dracos, AI, they're like tortoise beings and mantis and greys, and then humans with their whole intergalactic black market trading and everything else, like creepy ass story, and why so many targeting one person and all. But it's usually, we get in the way of these groups. Like, you might just be a nice person who cares, who tries to help, who tries to alter reality or keep that status quo or protect groups. Or it's just like, let's say, your house, your garden, your farm, it's yours. And you care about it. Like, you're going to try to keep it clean. You're going to try to make sure everything's fine over there. And this is probably like the best, simplest way I can explain. So your house is like your universe or your planet or your realm. And then there are groups like reptilians or even humans. They're nasty. Like, a lot of people are not good. So they're going to come and all of a sudden claim that your house is theirs now. And if you try to fight back, then, hey, you're going to be messed with. So there's a lot of that going on. And that's like one of the things that happens out there. There's tons. There's tons of black, like really hardcore stuff happening. Like pedophilia is being very common. Human trafficking and the whole trading people and enslaving them and making them sex slaves is super common. There's so many things that are not nice happening. And those of, let's say, group of people who are like, hey, I kind of would like peace and love here and to have a nice, chill life. Well, there's a reason you want that, because you've been living like that for quite a while. You've been trying to maintain it. And there are groups who are like, no, chaos, and like, we're going to control everything and you're going to be our slave because this is our game. So once you get in the way, you get targeted. And a lot of times it sends up as a reason why you're here, where you were deceived, where you try to hide, where you were forcefully incarnated. And that's like the whole forced incarnation. Soul traps would be like 5%. It sounds scary in concepts, but it's not that common. It's not that much of a thing. The more common thing of how a consciousness can be trapped is that your perception is being messed with. We experience reality, and the perception is that we are limited. What happens to us with how these bad boys play is like seeing a movie where it's a bit too much to handle, or it gets confusing, or you get a fake sense of, like walking in that sinking sand, or like really mud where you feel stuck for a bit. And that perception, you can have it for a moment where, oh, I'm stuck, I can't move. Damn it, like I can't get out of here. So certain thoughts like that, where it's limiting in a way where you say, I'm stuck, I'm grounded, I can't get out of here, I'm helpless, I can't, like, I'm powerless, I can't do anything, I can't see anything. Depending on what kind of perception is given and created for us, if we start buying into it and believing it, that takes away our power. And that is enough for you to put yourself into, from the moment of, I'm a limitless, I'm everything, I can do everything, the godlike being that I preach all the time, or most of the time, into putting yourself in a cage with, oh, I perceive that right now I can't see anything. You're blocked, you're in complete darkness, is that void. Sometimes it's maybe that void, you can't see anything and feels like you're not moving. I can't move, I can get out of here, what the hell? And that little moment of panic or, it's too much. It's so easy to use various technologies to get you in here on Earth for some groups. And so with various reasons why we end up here, like, there's a lot of stories where people, they have their own memories of past lives or what they did. They have gone through other psychics and like doing past life regression, and like where you do it on yourself or you use someone else. Doing it to yourself is the best. The only thing that gets in the way is usually your own doubt, where, am I imagining, is this real, or am I making it up? And that's it's all up to you, like it's whatever you believe in. But then people like me, from your perspective, I'm just gonna tell you a story. That's all. Like, I can try my best to share in detail of everything that I'm seeing, but to you, it's just gonna be a story. And it's like, if it fits with what you have perceived in life, like some people, everyone has this like inner lie detector, and you can know what's true or not. Certain situations in life happen, and you're like, no, I know this person is not good to me. Like, I should avoid them. Like, you kind of have this inner feeling that they might be lying, they might not be good people, they might, shouldn't be trusted. And others are like, I don't know why, but I like that person. I feel like we knew somewhere, like we knew each other before, like we have some sort of connection. So everyone has this kind of thing if they're alive and conscious, not an NPC. But so what, like, let's say when I'm sharing what I perceive, let's say if I do a reading on you, to you it's going to be like, does your inner lie detector like reads the story, hears it, and then where does it go? Yep, no, yes, no. And you pick out whatever fits. If it doesn't, you're like, it's just a story to me. And again, it's all about beliefs and then what you buy into. But with all that, like, I had quite a few people who are like, holy shit, it's like exactly what I remember, what others told me were what, they can really resonate with. Like their whole life, they've been perceiving this thing, and now they kind of get this story that like totally matches with what they get. Like others are like, like, okay, it's just a story, whatever. So with all that, like I'm going in circles, and it's a lot of talking, and I'm not clear about it. I'm sorry about that. But when I spot these things, there are parties that, want people to be limited in one way or the other, whether it is draining you like an energy cell, whether it is like trying to make sure that, you're surrounded by handlers or people who can be easily accessed and used, and everyone can be accessed, absolutely everyone, even me. So it's like, there's no full like 100% protection from it. We can be aware, we can work on making it a bit harder, but while we're humans here on Earth, it's like there's never really a way of like 100% clear and you're never going to be attacked ever again. Like I doubt it, but it might be my false limiting belief. Maybe that's it. So again, with all that, looking into things, just recently, I noticed like about during this whole month, and probably like in the beginning of August, I was doing a session and finding things about, like Ashkenazi Jews and Khazaria, and like looking into those hardcore rituals, like those groups, hardcore, like really nasty bunch, sacrificing children, cannibalism, black magic, and these are just like super light things, but just like from my perspective, let's say consciousness shifting and getting into that experience to see like, okay, what's the connection between this person that I'm working on and this whole event and people, like what's going on? And for me, when I'm doing this kind of work, it's like watching a movie in a way, where my consciousness or my point of view, my awareness is going to be moved at a certain event in time. And then it's like a free camera angle. It's like moving your head and looking what's going on around you. So it's like sometimes I can walk around and everything else, but usually I try not to have a body and all. And then it's more like a camera view that's going to be moved from any angle and look at anything around me, and sort of like having a controller, so to speak, where it's like, okay, fast forward, let's see what happens and how is that event connected to their life over here. And, like, let's see, following your lineage of, like people in your family and looking at your great grandparents and everything else and what happened to them and why is your life so suppressed or hard? Why can't you get relationships? Why can't you get rich and all? And there's like a lot of this karmic transference where for some people, depending on where your ancestors have been here on Earth, connecting to the bloodline and DNA and everything else, it's like they're going to have an event happen, and some of them might be involved in groups, even like lightly, like they were just a victim of it, trying to run away, but they experienced that stuff. And like even the whole thing with Ashkenazi Jews in Khazaria, like the way some people in that group were working, they're doing the karmic transference with whatever they do, the consequences will actually go to other people. So is their very strong, powerful belief where they cannot be guilty. They justify themselves, which is why like some people, you know, avoiding religion, or let's say some have fears of, if I make a sin, I'm going to go to hell. Others are like, hell? You know, you can't hurt me. You can't do anything. I'm super powerful. A lot of these psychopaths and pedophiles and people who are not good walk freely around the streets, while those that, you know, just smoke a bit of weed publicly, like, oh, you know, like you do small things and you end up in jail, and, you know, like maybe even haven't done anything and you're just like been framed for nothing. Like, okay, you know, like great system. So with that concept, a lot of this karmic transference even come from the ancestors and end up limiting people nowadays. And it's been like hundreds and hundreds of years of history of what happened. And me looking at the whole thing, what I've been like looking at even today, is like, think of this, I wouldn't even call it a portal, but best way. Yeah, I don't even know if I should show it on paper or whatever, but it's like walking through the gate. It's like walking through a certain area. Like if I went, like if this is a gate, let's just say, yeah, and I was walking through it and I passed it. It's invisible. It's in like, it's like walking through the door or something else, but there's no screen, there's nothing covering it. But you just walk through that sphere. And it's like they had this energetic implant where it scans people whoever might be snooping around, trying to find some information, trying to get to see what's going on. It's like, hey, no one's going to find about this incident. We're going to keep it quiet. No one's going to talk about it. It's like forbidden story, so that no one would know what the hell. No one will look around or undo anything. And for me, like I got in, I was scanned, like that whole, let's say, energetic implant, what I would call it, will work by scanning the being that might have gone through that specific space, and then looking for his possible best weakness of how can they subtly get into your space where you're not going to notice them. It's going to look like exactly part of your character, just you in life, like, oh, I just got tired because it was a long day. Like, subtle as that. And they get into your space, and it's like a being, or like part of like a fragment of consciousness, or I don't know, like astral implant, energetical implant, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But it's like they get into your space. Like takes your energetic imprint of passing that space, and then, you know, you get back, but they follow you with that. And now you're carrying a little virus, a Trojan horse, and it's silent. It's not there. It's not active. It's dormant. It's sleeping. But whenever you get a certain trigger in life, for me, it would be getting a stop, and being stopped too often. Let's say, you know, you get inspired, like, hey, I'm going to go work out. Boom, something happens. You have to take care of a phone call. Your doggy wants to go for a walk and other things. And it's like you have this thing you want to do. Maybe you're inspired. Maybe you have this new project you're going to work on, write a book, and, you know, maybe create a course, maybe go painting, maybe go drawing, go do something else. And then tons of things around you are like starting to pop up out of the blue and needing your attention, needing you to take care of it. And all of a sudden you have to do this and this and this and this. And I gotta stop. I had this project, but I can't. Like, I have to take care of other priorities. And for me, like, that would happen a bit too much. It was like a bit like, hey, this is not normal, which is why, like, I'm like, I have to go back into the spiritual work and all. And looking at this, like, that little Trojan horse, you know, like, best way to call it, was there asleep, not active, until the possible trigger happens where, okay, I'm gonna, you know, like write back an email, do the session, do something else, and boom, like out of the blue, just stop. Someone needs my attention. I have to take care of it. And okay, I like my whole energy, like the way that little implant would work, what I would call it would be like a little black hole where a lot of the thoughts, ideas, and energies like being sucked, and I can't have it. So like some people, you know, like they want to share how they feel, what they think, like this whole realization they had about relationships, about life, about, you know, like some of the things that they've been suppressed with, and finally like they became aware of it. And then boom, the thought disappears and it's like blocked. It's like you try to get it and it's really hard, but then it's just blank. Like can't really focus on it. It's fizzling out now. So with all these, like for me, like I found like, hey, I've had this like I did a session, I snooped around to see what's going on and why is the person targeted nowadays, and just like got into one of those traps. It was basically not visible to me. I had no idea. And until like I started exploring into why is this happening to me too much, and just sort of like trying to find out like origins of how did I get this? Because it felt like it's me. Oh, I'm just tired. It just stopped too much, and it's a given. If you're being stopped, if you're being suppressed, if you get it too much, you're gonna give up. So okay, and I'm like kind of used like it's just like I knew the concept of it. I experienced it before, so I was just like, okay, this is normal. This is what happens. But I'm like, no, this is a bit out of hand where it's happening every single day too much whenever I focus on certain things. And that way I found it. Like, so like, anyway, found it, took care of it, more like became aware of this imprint or little virus in the system, so to speak. And then, okay, well, who did this? And it's just like, let's say the way we would create the energy shield around us to protect from entities or, like have your sovereign space is like some people back in the day and the whole, Ashkenazi Jews, Khazarian and all the stuff, doing like all kinds of rituals, black magic and energy stuff. They're really advanced. They really know their stuff. And you wouldn't do it in normal ways, but for them, it's like, hey, no one should know about this. Like, hey, we as a group should not be messed with. We're gonna show them, like they're very subtle, they're very quiet about their ways, but definitely, it's like people that we point fingers at, even like let's say Bill Gates and all this stuff. They're not the richest, they're not the most powerful. Those that are in power will not be showing up. We're not going to see their faces. We're not going to hear their names. And so it's like trying to find that kind of thing is where you're going to go, and it's in like certain groups will not let you do it. So it's like very interesting. One is taking care of myself physically is great, but like, I'm sort of, okay, maybe I should talk about it. Like it's not dangerous. It happens. Like it really depends on what you're addressing, how you're doing it and all the stuff. Cause like, just because you're practicing some of the spiritual work or energy work and trying to help others doesn't mean that you're always going to get in trouble. And doing like, having various practices and doing it right, yeah, you're going to get away with it. You're going to feel great. You're going to be helping others. For me, I just noticed it like, depending on who I'm working with and their background, specifically what I see and how I experience it, sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. Like I took some breaks from sessions and everything else. Other times, like I've been attacked where, doing a session and then confronting really dark stuff, but in a way where not just seeing it, but being in my client's shoes, so to speak. And while they're, maybe being killed off or tortured or something else, like I go in a session with the blank slate and whatever I see is going to be there. And like, I'm going to become the client for a moment and sort of scan their story, access their Akashic records and see what happened. And then, if they're going through stuff, I'm going through stuff. And I get out of the session going, oh my God, like the whole body's like feeling sick and seeing some dark stuff and then needing a break. So that used to happen, which is why, like I decided to play differently. And instead of solving everyone's stuff and trying to help, which is like another thing. Lately, I've been more into, I'm just going to tell you what's going on and I'm going to give you the tools to do it. And if you want to do it, you're going to do it. But the whole removal and fixing it for you, most people after the session would be like, yeah, okay. And then they're too lazy to do the work and they keep on doing whatever they were doing to get the problems in the first place and nothing changes. So like, even if I would do some clearing, people would be still doing things that would fog them up, so to speak. So like nowadays, like I've been working through my beliefs about it. I've been working through, if I try to help and fix things, I'm going to be punished for it because that's been my everyday reality for a long time. And, like I'm sort of slowly getting back into it while taking care of myself and addressing the limits I face. But it's interesting. For me, it's like, I don't know. I just felt like sharing it because they like, the work I did seemed very important, where I got a lot of this like clarity and understanding of why is this happening to me. The little blockages I have, it's like, one is when you have a problem, you face it and you're like, it annoys at that moment and you try to do your best to deal with it. But if you step back and find out why is it happening and not react to the problem, but understand it, and you're like, oh, they're just targeting me. Or let's say somebody wants me to react and stop from what I was doing. So a lot of people that want to share what they know, want to share some of their beliefs, it's like they get punished for it. Others, it's like that self-expression. Some even like can't share their love, can't share their affection. It's just like, it's a powerful stuff, but it goes in a lot of ways. Like what I'm touching is barely the surface of it all, and barely like few experiences out of billions, so like you hear what I talk about and what others talk about, and what I share is just, let's say, one piece of puzzle out of 50,000 billion or whatever, and it's just one perspective. Like, see it however you want. Next story I might share might be other piece of puzzle. They might not be connecting well, but who knows? So it's like, I'm just trying to like learn and explore, and like, okay, well, I experienced and saw this, I experienced and saw this, and I experienced and saw this. What do these guys or things have in common? And like, I keep my notebooks of sessions that I do with things I find out, and just like trying to see things in common. Like lately, I've been trying to shift my work into guiding people out of body, so that it wouldn't be me telling you the story. It would be me helping you see your story and experience it for yourself. And like, it's easier for people that have visuals, because they're just gonna more like, I'm working with something I'm familiar with. Guiding those that don't have visuals, I would have to find other ways to do the same kind of work. And there's that like clairsentience and stuff. I think where people would have this knowledge and information just come in. Like for me, like I'm more of a visual person. Others will have different abilities. We're like all somewhat different, but anyway, I'm babbling a lot, but hopefully you get something out of it, or kind of like a little look into my world. So yeah, all in all, if there's anything you should take out of this video, is that, doing this self-development and shadow work and work on yourself is very important. But specifically, it's like, you find sort of patterns or things that happen to you a lot, it might aggravate you. And then you like looking into why is that thing happening, not necessarily why to you, but just understanding why is this happening. If you see why maybe you are targeted, like, but again, it's like sensitive for some people, because like it's very dismissed by others. Just like the whole, oh, you like you're special, and just feeling special for being targeted. Like it's not that, but more like having the understanding why it's happening. It helps you to not react, not get sucked into the cycle of certain emotions and triggers and the same story that you've been experiencing, but more like stepping back and like, oh, you realize what's going on. You don't have the same reaction. You don't, like have your energy feeding off the whole thing. And it's more like you just like step back, and now you're not swinging on a pendulum. You're watching it, but you're not on it. And you have control of yourself and your life. And it's very important. Another thing, like energetically, it's just like way better. More like having clarity and having more control over stuff is like probably the thing. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. And if you got something out of it, yay. Like, if you want me to share more of these stories of what I've seen, what I've been through, and I'll, we can ask questions and I'll gladly answer. And if you would like some help with maybe guide out of body experience, maybe like exploring your own past lives, could definitely do this thing. Looking into possibly doing a live stream, like I don't know, like live stream and having a script that I would share where I could hopefully guide a group of people where everyone can share their own experience, have their own kind of thing. But we'll see. Anyway, I'll shut up. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.